All right, Coach, we're going to get started with Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic. He'll be followed by Kellen Olson.
Thanks, Palmer. Coach, just how did day two look? And looking at the schedule with the two preseason games like slated for Utah back to back, not back to back, but a day in between, and then the Lakers that same format. How do you like that? I know obviously it's a shortened season, but how do you like that look?
I mean, as far as today's practice, we were able to get up and down a little bit today. We hit the guys with a lot of stuff yesterday with the hopes that, guys that were here last year would be able to pick it up faster. And so we felt like continuity could help us be able to play more today. So we were in more 4-on-4 and 5-on-5 situations. As far as the schedule, I just think it's something that, we're all dealing with as far as cutting down on travel, trying to keep everybody safe. I actually like it because it's an effort to do the best that we can to put everybody in a position where they can play all season long. We got to do our part as far as wearing masks and staying distance when we can, and doing all the stuff that relates to hygiene. But I think the league is doing the very best they can to keep everybody safe.
Next is Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports. He'll be followed by Cameron Cox.
Hey, Monty, I know we talked about depth the other week. When you look at the backcourt specifically behind Chris and Devin, you've got a lot of good options and guys who do different things. Can you kind of compare and contrast that group when it comes to Cam, Javon, Etuan, and Langston?
Well, I mean, you said it. Those guys are versatile guys that can, do different things. Been really impressed with Etuan from afar. Because I coached in New Orleans and actually Langston also. They both were there after I left. And their ability to score the ball, Etuan has an ability to play and catch and shoot situations and facilitate and make plays for other people. And Javon and Cam, gave everybody an example of what we believe they're going to grow into even more this year, hopefully putting pressure on other teams and playing fast and aggressive on defense, fast on offense, and they both can make shots. And Cam, we hope to see him, can be consistent and grow. That's the one thing that, I'm sure he wants to prove to everybody is he can be a consistent rotation player.
Next is Cameron Cox with 12 News. He'll be followed by Tressa Tudrick.
Hey, Coach, good morning. So what's been the most challenging part of camp so far for you? And then how concerned are you about when you guys do change environments for the preseason games?
What's been the most challenging?
Yes, what's been the most challenging part for you so far in camp?
Just trying to get a lot of new guys up to speed on different languages and play calls and defensive schemes. You don't want to overload them, but we felt like we brought guys in that had the capacity to absorb a lot. And so there's a balance for me trying not to do too much, but also having an understanding that we play a regular season game in a little over 2 weeks. So that part's a challenge, but it's a challenge for everybody. And what was the second part of your question?
Just how concerned are you about when you guys do change environments for preseason games and have to go somewhere else instead of be in your home bubble?
There's a concern because you just want everybody to stay healthy, but I think we've done everything we can to give everybody the best chance to, stay away from this virus. I don't know what else we can do. If there is something else, I'm sure we're going to investigate it and implement it as best we can. I don't have a declaration about it. I'm just aware of, the league and us as an organization doing the best that we can to keep everybody safe. And that's all you can ask for. We've talked to our guys about it. We've had our doctors, medical staff talk to the guys about how we can, stay clear of it and help our families and what to do when different people are coming into town. We want to be a benefit to them. It's just a new normal, and then hopefully it's over soon, but we got to do what we can in the meantime.
All right, next up is Tressa Tudrick with Channel 3, Channel 5. She'll be followed by Brendan Clean.
Sorry for jumping the gun again. Coach, thank you for your time. Javon Carter, he said something pretty powerful that part of his decision about being here was that he felt wanted. I'm just curious, what is being implemented in the culture to make guys like Javon and others really feel like a part of this team? And it was pretty powerful when he said it.
Gosh, I don't know how to answer that correctly, or at least help you do your job adequately. We just try to do our jobs, but we also try to create an environment where guys feel like they can be themselves, where they can improve on their game. Everybody in this building has a lot to do with that. It's not just the basketball piece. If you were upstairs and you met Nicole Swanigan, you'd meet one of the best people on the face of the planet. If the guys need something at their home, Nicole will look up HGTV or DIY to get it done, for the guys. And I don't think we're different than any other organization. We're trying to implement all of the good stuff we can so that when guys come here, they feel served, they feel wanted, but they also feel like they can get better. And we also want guys that want to compete and win games. And I think that's the kind of team that we're putting together, competitive guys that want to win. But every day we try to serve our guys. We all understand that what we do is a privilege. It's a get to, not a got to. And I'm hopeful that the level of gratitude around here continues to increase as we stay here.
Next up is Brendan Clean with Bright Side of the Sun. He'll be followed by Dwayne Rankin.
Hey, Monty, to go back to the campaign you discussed a moment ago, I asked James about how he sees his role on this team last week, and he said he's looking forward to just kind of letting the competition play out, using the depth that you guys have to let guys fill in the gaps where they end up doing that. But do you feel like that the second unit behind Chris needs a traditional playmaker, traditional point guard type of guy? Do you feel like it can kind of be catered toward whoever's on the floor? Because Cam is sort of the only guy we would call a point guard who is going to be coming off the bench. I'm just curious if you see how you see that second unit working and if there's a need for a guy to do those things.
Well, teams don't play in platoon rotations anymore. And because of that, you kind of need somebody that can do some of the things that Chris can do. So sometimes Chris will play with the second unit because of rotations. And so Cam does provide some pick and roll playmaking, facilitating that Chris obviously is really good at. And so I think to your question, that's where Cam has a chance to really grow our second unit and grow his career. I think the way most teams do rotations nowadays, the backup point guard has to be able to play with the first and second unit. And so that would lead one to have to, be somewhat like the starter. In this case, like Chris. And so I think that helps us if we have a rotation where Cam is playing with DA. We need somebody that can get DA the ball in the right spots when he's diving to the basket or when he reads the defense and pops. And I thought Cam showed that he can do that in Orlando.
All right, next is Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic, followed by Kellen Olson.
Coach, with the compact time in terms of trying to, figure out rotations and who plays with who and things of that sort, what are things that you're just going to just be focusing on? I know it's a lot, you're implementing a lot, but what things are you focused on when you're watching them play? Okay, we need that from that guy, or we need that from that guy. How much of that is going to be trying to force that kind of action when you only got very little time before the season starts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does force you to want to get on the floor and play in 5-on-5 situations, just so you can see what combinations are working. You want to be able to see who can play with the first unit. I always look at it in terms of, who makes Devin's job easier, who makes DA's job easier, who can get, Mikhail the ball when he's cutting to the basket and coming off screens, or playing in pick and roll. If you can hit Mikhail coming off of a shakeup, those are the kinds of concepts that I'm looking for from guys who are going to be in those role positions. And then I don't want to get in the way of, guys who can naturally do what they do. I brought up Etwan, and, DJ is a guy that can dive and put pressure on the rim. He's a really good athlete, a freak athlete. And so I think to answer your question, you just want to get in 5-on-5 situations as much as possible so you can see different combinations. But it's hard when you're trying to teach a lot of concepts to new players. So there's that balance of, implementing stuff in drills, whether it's 4-on-4 and 3-on-3, so you can teach it. And then you hope that when you put them in 5-on-5, you give everybody a chance to look the best that they can, because they know what they're doing based on our schemes and concepts.
All right, Coach, final two questions come from Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, then Jesse Zaragoza.
Hey, Coach, this is a little bit off topic. With Chris and his role in the Players Association, he'll be able to give me a better idea than you, obviously, of what the role entails. But from the standpoint of him being like a representative for an organization with that type of role that he holds, I'm sure you've seen some similar examples with San Antonio in the past of what that can do for an organization. Can you just provide a better picture at all in terms of having that type of voice, and really someone who's like respected across the league as an intellectual and a voice for the league?
Well, I mean, the fact that, guys wanted to come here says a lot about what Robert's been able to do here in the organization. And then you take a guy like Chris, who was excited to come here. I think it raises the level of respect that the organization has earned, because Chris is a guy that's he's probably at the top of the list. When you think about a guy who transcends the sport, he kind of connects the floor to the business side. He connects the Players Association to the owners and the players. Like he's a guy that's a bit of a glue for all kinds of pillars in the league. And I think that's something that, when you think about how good he is and has been, it's like, man, how do you juggle all of that, and have time to, do State Farm commercials with Jake, whatever that guy's name is. It's like, that's a lot of stuff. And I think the guys look up to him because of the high level that he does it with. He's articulate, he's thoughtful. And the thing that I hope that all of the players see is how much he cares about them. Chris he's made a lot of money, but he's done a lot to help other guys make a lot of money. And that was something that I didn't understand when I came into the league. I just thought the Players Association was some secret society that, just came up with a deal and we played. I didn't really get it. The longer I've been around, I understand how much work goes into it, and how much Chris has done over the years has been a plus for the league.
All right, final question comes from Jesse Zaragoza with Back Sports Page.
All right, Coach. So you've been around great NBA talent throughout your NBA career, your coaching career, with Brandon Roy, Chris Paul now twice, Anthony Davis, Kevin, and Russ. We know that Booker can light it up any night. But what do you think is the next step Devin has to make to be considered among the elite of the elite?
Well, I think the winning is what seems to propel guys into a different class. And I think that's what Devin wants. That's what we want. You know, he's proven on a night in, night out basis that he's elite in a number of categories. If you look at the stats historically, he's put himself in classes of players that are all first ballot Hall of Fame's greatest of all time type players. But I think the winning is what will put him in a different class as far as, you know, being a consistent elite all NBA type player. And that's, you know, that's what we want for him. But it won't happen if we don't win the way that we want to. And so I think that's what he wants. That's what we want. And I'm sure there's other areas of his game that he still wants to improve. You know, he's constantly working on his game. He's an elite shooter. I thought last year his passing out of double teams and facilitating in 0.5 and his ability to get to the paint and find guys was at a really, really high level last year. And I think he still can, you know, improve in that area. You know, if he was to get 1 or 2 more assists a game, I mean, that would make Mikal and Cam better. And I think it makes our team better. And because those guys can make shots and make plays off of Book, it's only going to make Book that much more lethal. So I'm hopeful we can win more games so that he can be recognized for the player that we know he is.